12C, frequency tables. Now we talked about frequency tables in an earlier lesson, but now we're going to focus on how to use it to find the big three. The mean, median, and the mode. Alright, so we're going to talk about how to find these three things using frequency tables. Now the mode's easy. It tells you on the table. Hey, here's the value, here's the frequency, right? Most often digit, mode. What's the one that's most often? 7. So keep in mind, that's the mode. Isn't it great when life's easy? Good old mode. Okay, now let's move on to the mean. Now we see all this stuff here, we'll ignore that for now. And just think about how we normally find the mean, right? The mean is the sum over the number equals the mean. Now how does that change when we have a frequency list? Well, it makes the sum a little funkier. And it makes the, well, it makes the mean, actually, it makes the total a lot easier. But the sum, right, I want to add up all these values. I want to add up all my 3s, add up all my 4s, all my 5s. So I could go 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. That's just 3 5s. Easiest way to do that is just multiply them. Frequency times the value. So I have 3 5s, 5 times 3, 15. I have 7 6s, 6 times 7. So all we have to do here is look at our formula and we get this guy. That's in our formula sheet. And all that means is, remember, E means sum. If you ever see this, that's math for sum. We're going to multiply our x values, these guys, by their frequencies, these guys, and then we're going to add them all up. That's how you get the sum up top there. So you get each x value and times by its frequency, so you get the total value down here. And then we divide it by the number of items we have, which is just the sum of the frequencies, right? That counts up. That's the count of all your values. So we have 40 values here. We have 1 3, 1 4, 3 5, 7 6s, 15 7s, yada yada yada. That's our total frequency. So our total number. And that's how we find the mean. So we look at this formula in our formula sheet. So if I want to do the mean, we're just going to do this over the sum of f. And then you just sum in those values. So the sum of x times f, we have it up here. So we get x times f, multiply them out, add them all up, write the sum, 278. And divide by the sum of the frequencies, right? So you add up all the frequencies and you get 40. And then like they have here, we get 6.95 and 3/6. So that's how you do the mean, right? So it's a little backtrack, right? Mode, just look at the highest value, that's your mode, done. So easy. The mean, it's a little more complicated. It's in your formula sheet though, this formula right there. You're just going to go, okay, we want the total value, so that multiply the value by the frequency, that's how many of them you have, and then divide by the total frequency, like your normal mean, just a little fancier. And then we're going to talk about the median. I believe we've gone over this before with frequency, but now we're going to kind of go over it again. So the median, right, it's the middle number when you put it in order, but how does it affect when we have the frequency? Well, same idea, you still got to find the middle number. But in this case, we're going to use the cumulative frequency, so we got to create one. Makes life easy for median. So it's not as helpful for the mean or the mode, but it's very helpful for the median. So if you don't have a cumulative frequency when you do a median, you generally want to write one. You don't need it, but it helps. So it's the same formula we had before. If you want to find the median of something, you want the middle number. Since it's a frequency list, we're going to go n plus 1 divided by 2. That's going to help us find the middle value. And then you want that term. So not this number, that's the term. So if I did it here, right, we have the frequency of 40. 40 plus 1 is 41. I like to write it. So n plus 1 over 2, which gets me 41 divided by 2, which gets me 20.5. That's that term. So I always want to write term. That's the term, not the answer. I gotta find the term. So we look at our cumulative frequency. Remember, we know how to write this, right? So I always think about this as like the running count. So I have one item. And then I have one of these, so I add one of those, I have a total of 2. Then you add 3 of the 5s, and you have a total of 5. So right now, visually it looks like this. You have a 3, you have a 4, and then you have like 3 5s. Right, but then I'm not going to want to write all the 6s, right? There's 7 6s, so there's 6, blah, 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 blah. 6, 7 times. There's going to be like a bunch of 7s, and then a bunch of 8s, and then a bunch of 9s. Right? That's too cumbersome to write. So all we can try to do is figure it out from here. So here's my cumulative frequency. I have 40 total. I'm looking for a 20.5 term. Where does that fall? Well, at the end of 6, right, we have a total of 12. That means from here to here is a total of 12 items. Right? Well, I need to get the 20.5 term. So at the end of 7, once I add all these up, now I have a total of 27. So the 20.5 term should fall somewhere in here. So it must be a 7. And that's how we do the median with the cumulative frequency. All you do is, okay, I'm at the 20.5 term. So if you're doing it short, you just go, okay, it's definitely not 6, so that's only 12. The next one up is 27, that's too far. So I'm in between those two, which is this number 7, right? So this is the end of the 6s and the start of the 7s. This is the end of the 7s, so 20.5 must be in the 7s because it's before 27. Okay, now let's do an example, like another example. So the table below shows the number of, I'm going to show you how to do all these with the calculator also. So I'll do that in an example here. The table below shows the number of aces served by a sample of tennis players in their first sets of a tournament. So number of aces, their frequency. I want to find the mean, median, and the mode. So let's start with the mode because that's the easy one. Right, we love the mode. The mode is the most often digit. It's the highest frequency, so right there is our mode. So mode is 3. So there we go. The median, the middle term. So if I was going to do that, I would generally want to do cumulative frequency. Now I don't have to, but it does make my life easier. I'm going to kind of go backwards because means. So let's do cumulative frequency. So I'm going to rewrite it to aces and then frequency. It helps I make a straight line or whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 11, 18, 13, 7, and 2. Then we'll do a cumulative frequency. So I have a total of 4. Add the 11, I get 15. Add the 18, I get 33. Add the 13, I get 46. Add that, I get 53, and then 55 total. So that's my cumulative frequency. If I want to find the median, right, now this is the last number, so my median is n plus 1 divided by 2. N is the last number. That's your total number of items. So like right here when we do that sum of f, that is 55. Because I just add them all up just by doing cumulative frequency. So this is 55 plus 1 is 56. Divided by 2 is 28. Term. I gotta remind myself to write that sometimes. So the 28th term. So where does that fall? Right. So it should fall right in here. Right. At the end of when 2 ends, I'm at 50. I have a 15 total. That's all 2s. Once all the 3s are written down, I'm at 33. So I passed my 28. So 28 must be in this term here. So it must be also 3. So my median is also 3. Like that. And then we have to do the mean. So remember, means the formula in our formula sheet is this guy. Like that. Now my sum of frequencies, again, I already have that, 55. I need x times f. Now if I was going to do this by hand, I'll just put it over here on this side. I'll probably put x times f, just like I need. Most of the time we do this with a calculator though. So I'm just going to do it by hand real quick. 4, 22. Now keep in mind, I'm multiplying x times f. X is my aces. I'm not touching the cumulative frequency. It's dead to me. I don't care about it anymore. So 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 11, 2 times 11 is 11. 3 times 18, 54. 4 times 3 is 52. 35 and 12. If I add all that up, I don't know what that is. I'm using a calculator because probably use a calculator from the start here. So let's do 4 plus 22 plus 54. And as long as I didn't mess up my multiplication, which would be embarrassing, I should be okay. I'm gonna do some of the calculator later, so I don't want to go back and rewrite this. So hopefully I didn't mess up. Otherwise, I'm gonna be very embarrassed. So I get 181 is my total sum, like my total value of all this, right? My x's times my f's. How many total of these things I have? Because I have like 413 and such. Then you divide it by 55, and we get that, 3.29. So that is my mean. Now let's talk about how to do this in the calculator. since I have it out already. So when you're doing your calculator, this is going to be our L1 and our L2. So that's going to change. So stat edit. L1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And my L2 is 4, 11, 18, 13, 7, and 2. Okay. Now here's the only difference. We're still getting the L1 stats. We still get out of this. We still go to stats. So I should write this here on the calculator. Edit. Right. Type in data. Okay, so let's type in your data. And then you go back to you go to stat. Should probably put stat and then edit. Then you go back to stat and you can go over to calculate. And we're still going to use one variable stats. It's still only one variable. We have frequency, but still only one variable here. That's not a variable. There's only one variable here, which is number of bases. We're still going to use one variable stats. We don't ever use two variable stats on this class. And the one difference is right here, the frequency list. Now we have a frequency list. The most common mistake people make is that they'll add like an L2 here, and then you don't have frequency. Like if it's just like the list of numbers, just do L1. Just do a list. So don't forget to delete this if you don't have frequency. Or they'll have a frequency and they won't put L2 here. Like if you have a frequency, make sure to put it in. So my list is L1, and then my frequency list is L2. And that's the only difference, right? Because I put it for my second bar, so second L2. There's the L2 right there. It's one of the second numbers. Then you go to calculate, and it does all the math for you, and I get a slope of 3.25. So I might have messed up somewhere. There, I apparently did, because I get 179, not 189. One of these is wrong. Well, I'm embarrassed. I'm going to hide that right there. I have a total of 55 items. See, that's right. And we have our mean of 3.25. So 3.25. We have our median. If I want to scroll down, median is 3, just like we have. And again, you got to do the mode by yourself. But that's how you do in the calculator. Just plug it in, stat edit. Make sure to do L1 and L2. And if you have a frequency loop, make sure you do an L2. And when you put it under one variable stats, we always go there. Make sure if we have a frequency, make sure that this is there. If you don't have a frequency list, you clear that and you just do the L1. That's the lesson.